Welcome in to the Spooktacular 2025 Spooky Story Saturday edition, episode number 3. As I told you guys last week, it's going to get more intense. So we started off with the newspaper, then we went to the lock being popped on the door, which, like I said, it took a lot of force and power to do that, which is quite impressive. Today, we're going to speed up a little bit in time. I remember it was December. Oh, side note, I want to tell you guys about this house, because next week's story, the last story, is not going to have to do with the house. This is going to be in a remote location with me and another individual, and I'll share what we saw. It's pretty crazy. So, this house, like I've said in the previous videos, the house is brand new. It was one of those built and then they brought in. We were the first ones to live there. The land, there's been some arrowheads and stuff found there. Maybe that's it. I forgot to mention that across the road, it's not far. I used to ride my bike over there. If you go across the road, up a driveway, back into the woods just a little bit, there is a little family cemetery sitting right up there, which is distant cousins of mine and uncles, or I guess, or cousins, some sort. Anyway, so it's a little family cemetery. So that's right adjacent from the house. You could see the driveway from the house. So it's that close. Anyway, so also another thing about the house. Back when I worked third shift and I laid there and tried to go to sleep, it was in the country. So we're outside of the city and all that stuff. I could constantly hear a muffled conversation, and it's pretty much every day when I'm laying there trying to sleep, so I have to turn the fan up to drown out any noise. I'm not the only one that's heard it. Don't know where it's coming from. It's not TVs or nothing, not because I was the only one home working them weird hours. But like I said, I would hear, it was a faint mumble of a conversation. So there's been a lot of things going on in this house. Like I said, I don't know if anybody else in the area has experienced this kind of stuff, or if we were just the lucky ones. Obviously nobody's ever played with a Ouija board, but that stuff terrifies me. I will never mess with them. I know it's a board game, but there's intent, and that's not my speed. I'm not down with that. So let's get into the story, because this is one of my favorites, and I remember this like it's the back of my hand. I remember it. So it was in December. I was in my room. It was late at night. I was laying in bed and just trying to go to sleep, but I'm not tired. And the reason why I remember it was being December is because Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was on. So it was around that holiday time, Christmas time. And I'm laying there in my bed and I'm like, man, I really want to go to sleep. But I don't know, maybe if I just kind of chill out. I put my TV, so my TV, here's my bed. Bed's right here. In front of my bed is my big armoire thing, and I have my TV in there. And a lot of times I would just put my TV on auto turn off. So I'd set a timer for it. Usually about a 10-minute timer. I would just lay there kind of listening, hoping I'd fall asleep. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but just having that noise. So anyway, so the movie was playing. I laid there, I just kind of closed my eyes. Like I said, I'm not tired. And the TV shut off. So the timer went off. And I'm like, man, I'm not even sleepy yet. So I guess I'll just turn it back on. So what happened next is I reached for my remote, which was on the floor, and it was just a mattress and box spring. I was that cool guy that just laid on a mattress and box spring on the floor. I reached down, got my remote, and I went to turn the TV on. But as I turned my head from laying down, I turned my head and looked. Right in front of me, at the foot of my bed, in front of my television, was a guy. I don't know who he was, but what I can tell you, and I swear, just like any other experience, it felt like it lasted forever. I saw him. He was standing right there in front of my TV, right? I mean, not far from about that far from the foot of my bed, if you can see. Anyway, he was standing there, and he looked like an old, like back in the greaser days kind of deal, where he had the slick back hair. I know he had a white t-shirt on, and he was turned he was turned sideways, so he was turned this way. And in the he had his white short sleeve shirt on, and it looked like, it had a big rectangle there, like he had a pack of smokes. Some people would put them there. But anyway, he was standing there. He had his hair slicked back. He had that white t-shirt on. He had on a pair of jeans. But the thing is, the room's dark. The TV's off. It's super late at night. It might be 1 or 2 in the morning. He was grayish white kind of deal. Like he was there. I don't know how to explain it, but he stood there, and like I said, he looked grayish white, and it's pitch dark in this room, and he's over there doing something like this, like he's working on something. So he's standing there doing this number, and I am just absolutely freaked out. I'm sitting here, or I'm laying in my bed, I'm looking, I'm like, what in the world is this? Meanwhile, my remote's still in my hand. And about that time, I dropped the remote. I hit it with my hand and knocked it on the floor. As the remote hit the floor, the guy that was standing here, piddling with his hands, turned his head, looked at me, and obviously I was looking at him, and the old story of your blanket is your little security blanket. It's your little fortress, your escape, your safety. I went under the blanket. I didn't know what else to do. I freaked out. And so I dropped the remote. He turned, like jerked his head sideways, just like that, and looked dead at me, quit messing with his hands, and I went under the blanket. And then I waited a couple minutes, I gradually peeked out, gone. And the room was pitch black. Absolutely insane. That was the first time I had ever seen an apparition or anything of that nature. No explanation. It was nobody. It was me in that room. And like I said, I stay up late a lot, and so it had to be like 1 or 2, could have been 3 in the morning, I don't know. But the TV went off because of the timer. I went to grab the remote to turn the TV back on because I wasn't sleepy yet, and saw him standing right there. And another little disclaimer, in this house there's been a lot of, I think about everybody has experienced something. Like I said, I'm the only one telling my stories about it, but no one has ever been harmed, so it's nothing bad that I know of. But I cannot explain this guy. I don't know. Like I said, he looked like he was from the 30s, 40s, 50s, somewhere in that ballpark. So like I said, he had that slick back hair. I mean, it was slick back. You could tell it was slick back. And that white t-shirt and the blue jeans, kind of like the Fonz would dress without his leather jacket. It's kind of what he would look like. But yeah, sure enough, he was doing something with his hands. It was intently looking at it, because I sat there and I watched him. He was just doing this number, twisting something. And then as soon as that remote hit the floor, looking right at me, turned his head, and I immediately panicked and went under my blanket, as if that's really going to do anything for me. But in that brief moment, that's all I had. So that was my very, very first experience. And since I moved into my house, I've not had that problem. I've not had any issues. So it's something to do with that house, that land. I don't know. So have you guys had any kind of experiences? Have you ever seen a person? Because that was the first time I ever have. It's not the last time, and we'll get to that next week. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. Like I said, man, when he snapped his head, as soon as that remote hit, snapped his head, I went under the blanket, and then finally found some courage and came out, and he was gone. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, that absolutely really happened. And I will never forget it. And I wish I could have focused more on his face, because maybe I could have identified who he was. But in the moment, it just kind of, it freaked me out. But I remember those other details. And like I said, he was white with gray hues. And it was pitch dark in that room. I cannot sleep with a light on, other than if I had the TV on, but that was just for sound. But it was pitch dark. And when I saw him, it was kind of lit up in like gray and white. That's all I can say. It was gray and white tonal, like black and white tonal. It was crazy. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. This is one of the craziest ones that I've had. The next week's is going to be equally as crazy. But like I said, it's not going to be at the house. This is going to be out in the country on a late night ride home with my father. And me and him both have seen it. And what we saw was unexplainable. So I will share that with you. So stay tuned and make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Also check out the podcast I had mentioned in the last video called Weird Darkness. It's by Darren Marlar. Check out his stuff if you like these spooky stories and different legends and lore and all kinds of stuff. He has amazing stories. He has old-timey radio, which I enjoy. It really lets you capture images and videos in your head as he's speaking. It's cool. Or as they're doing the old-timey plays. And also, I mentioned Weird Darkness because A, it's an awesome podcast, and B, right now they're celebrating their anniversary. I think it's their 10th year anniversary. I've been listening to them for a long time. They're doing a fundraiser for, I think it's Light in the Darkness is what it's called. I'm going to share it on my social medias, but it's to help people who's dealing with addiction, suicide, suicidal thoughts, and stuff like that. It's kind of like a fundraiser for outreach programs for those kind of people, because we need to take care of each other, because that's what we're here for. We're human, and you're worth it. Life is worth it. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. Just hang in there and don't lose hope. But like I said, check out Weird Darkness. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to me. And also, if you do check out Weird Darkness and you enjoy the show, leave a comment for him and tell him BrokeHouse sent you. I did talk to him, and he's cool with me advertising, so that's cool. I'm excited. I love the show, so check that out. Like, share, and subscribe here, and also check out the description, get any links for social media so we can connect and talk, and other things are posted in the social media than what I do here on YouTube. But until next time, have a spooky Saturday. Ooh.